All right, good morning. It's June 20th. This is the Whatcom County Fire District 21 Board of Commissioners regular meeting. And I will go ahead and call the meeting to order at 10:31, and we'll start the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call. Bruce Ansel.
Kimberly McMurray.
Matt Rayburn.
Tom Crawford.
Scott Fisher.
Houston Vanderbeek.
Joel Nielsen.
Any public comment? All right, I'll open the Volunteer Pension Board meeting. It's 10:32. We have the May 16th minutes. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
So
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Pension eligibility settlement. Chief?
Yes, sir. Mr. Robert DeMeyer, who was a District 3 volunteer from 1989 to 1999, has submitted his paperwork for the retirement settlement from the Board of Volunteer Firefighters. Excuse me.
So from 99 till now, what happened?
1989 to 1999. That's the period he served.
Right.
So
You have to hit a certain.
he has to, he got to hit us. Yeah.
So to get his age qualification. Gotcha. All right. So the amount is $3,824.35, and that comes from the state.
Correct.
Is there a motion to approve the settlement?
So moved.
And second. All right. Any questions, comments, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you. Any other business for the pension board? Chief? Okay. With that said, I'll adjourn the pension board meeting and open the regular board of commissioners meeting at 10:33. We have the consent agenda, which is the April 18th meeting minutes, staff reports, financial reports. Sorry, up here it says April. My bad. May. No, I appreciate it. I caught that earlier, but
it's on your other, yeah.
that's right. Thank you. The May 16th minutes. So I'll read the numbers in for the revenues, expenditures. May was $1,484,717.33. Expenditures for June, $967,929.38. Direct deposit payroll, $443,312.16. Payroll taxes voucher, $108,029.33. Benefits voucher, $284,133.83. Monthly expenditure voucher, $96,152.35. Capital projects, $36,301.71. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Commissioner meeting reports. Anyone?
Yeah, I guess I can go first. I've got a radio show that's going to have the chief on it here upcoming next month. So him, District 1 and District 17 are going to participate in that. So that's all set and ready to go. And what else were we going to go with?
I don't know. Got a county commissioners thing?
Nope, didn't go. So turn that over to Matt. This wasn't that.
That was back from May, and that was during my otherwise indisposed time. So I'm now.
No.
Yeah.
Feel free to let me know and I'll go if you can.
Or posable, one of the other. Yeah.
So that's all I got.
All right, Kimberly?
Just doing what I can to promote Live and Live.
Okay. Council, did you attend council or was that a non?
There was nothing on the thing for us.
Okay,
Although they did pass their parking lot, or
parking
they
ordinance?
did their parking.
Reducing the size of, or the amount of parking per
Right.
residence.
That'll help.
So fewer parking spaces.
They also are moving forward, my understanding is with the trailer home developments.
Yes, they are.
Yes.
Mobile home park.
Can we establish more fire lane zones when they start messing with the downtown access to the buildings?
I'll be reviewing all the access for fire apparatus for each project that comes up.
Excellent. We had another meeting with Liz Loomis and Associates. Moving forward, there's a lot of information rolling out. Gosh, we have how many meetings? 5, I think.
5 or 6.
Meetings. We've got the one on the east side. We've got Birch Bay Village. We've got one here at 61. We've got one at 63. And
Lane Senior Center.
Lane Senior Center. So the manager of Birch Bay Village has been super cooperative. That's probably at least 1,000 resident homes in there. They're gonna host a time for us at their clubhouse. And they have a regular newsletter, and he's already pushed out our video. And Pete from the senior center, same way, he has a regular newsletter. I sent him that notice that was created, and I'm sure that's going to come out in their next newsletter. He's, I believe, also on the Blaine Chamber.
Mhm.
So I think we're touching a lot of the Blaine, Birch Bay, Semiahmoo area. I don't know, do we have another Semiahmoo?
I'm going to be reaching out to the Semiahmoo, the SRA, as well as the men's group, and see if we can do. They had both talked about doing a mid-July
Right.
update.
So we're down to less than 30 days before ballots drop.
Doing one more as well.
Okay.
Yep, that's the east side one there. Saturday the 27th. Q&A.
Where is that one?
It's at the Laurel Grange on the guide, so it'll be on the east side there.
We get the sign moved down to the Grange, broadcasting that then?
We'd have to ask them about that, but we are after we pass June 27th, we'll put the date of the July 27th meeting. You asked me yesterday, and I thought about it. I'm like, no, we're not putting any date on there until after we pass the previous month's date. So not to confuse people, but we maybe if you could have.
That's what I was talking about, is getting the sign updated.
Yeah.
Not moved, but updated.
And they're, I think July 1, all the news.
Yes, everything, all the news
media
stuff drops
stuff
on
and
the 1st.
The date announcements and everything for all of these meetings will be pushed out to all the newspapers, and there's a long list of community contacts and radio stations and all that, where those notice of those dates will come out.
Then the
Actually, Jenny, can we send, I mean, I know they're drafts, but they've been approved. Can we send those to the board so that everyone can see kind of what's been going on behind the scenes for scheduling all these meetings?
You mean send the notices, the ones?
The one that Suzanne
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
made, huh?
I'd like to get a copy of the meeting dates.
Yes, that's what this will be. It'll list, with the exception of Birch Bay Village, because it's a private gated community, and so, I mean, you can't really invite the public to that. Okay.
year something.
Let's see how the barcode on the car.
Then the local has something going in mid-July. I'm sure they'll talk about as well. So
All right. So we're kind of on the final approach. See what happens. Has anyone had or heard any negative comments regarding the levy?
I've just heard concerns endemic to my area about increasing costs. With the valuation of homes popping up. Same conversation. Same conversation
Right.
that's been had
That-
several times.
They,
But I also think people in general are supportive of emergency response services.
that's the difficult message, is to try to help people understand that the levy rate has very little to do with their property value reassessment.
The
In
good
fact, in
news-
most cases, they pay less.
The good news is that the word is definitely out there. There's
Good.
a lot of conversation.
All right, excellent. All right, local 106.
A few things, yeah, obviously the levy, we're geared up with that. We have a campaign manager do the IFF. So the focus is gonna be on social media and like, YouTube ads and stuff. So we're gonna spend the majority of our money on that first, and then literature for door knocking. And we're starting to get all that set up. And whatever's left over, we will start using signs or targeted area for signs. We just finished the battalion chief promotionals, so congrats to all those who passed. So that's official now, I think as of the 18th. We're doing a pancake feed at Station 61 on July 13th. To obviously help out with the lift. And then obviously Leslie Smith's memorial's on the 29th. I'll chief send an email out, but there is a private after gathering at Ishka's Pub from 3 to 6, so you guys are welcome to join. So all the fire and fire family.
I'm sorry, could you say that last part?
Private gathering after the memorial at Ishka's Pub in Bellingham from 3 to 6. But chief, if you don't mind sending something out about that, that'd be great. Thank you.
Do you need help with the pancake breakfast?
I mean, Cody Bowen's running it, so he's sent some stuff out. So I imagine that, yeah, it's always good to have more hands than not. So he's the one who's in charge of it.
Thank you. Unfinished business, Birch Bay Station 63 Phase 1 project, Chief.
so in my chief's report, I discussed the kind of push to move to a different, what do they call it? Alternative public works process. And that is out of an abundance of caution as we've talked about building and the complexity of it, and looking at the initial plan was to, as we know that Station 63 is going to be a tear down. The plan is to use the same property. The initial plan was to relocate the Station 63 crew to Station 62. As I dug further into that, that's a bad decision for me to make. That crew needs to stay at 63. With the number of critical calls that they respond to from that station, the effect on response time would be catastrophic. And if it's even for one person, then it's not worth it. We have to maintain the crew at that location throughout the project. So in looking at that, how 63, the lot is so small, and how are we going to do that? It's going to require housing and apparatus, housing for personnel and apparatus. And there's a high likelihood during the project it's going to have to be moved from one side of the property to another. That's going to be complex. We had spoken before about getting a project manager. That led further down the rabbit hole of how can we do this in one fell swoop and have reasonable expectations for how this project's going to turn out, going into it and coming out. And so that led me to have some conversations with people. One of them was obviously our legal counsel. with some contractors and then just doing research online led me to this GCCM contracting model, which is where what you do is you have to apply to the state, you put a package in. There's a board at the state that approves the project, and it's based on 6 different criteria. 2 of them that mattered the most to us in the fire service are the need for the facility to stay open or operational during the construction, and also the complexity of the project, meaning both a fire station and the fact that refers back to point number 1 of having to stay in operational mode during construction. So what this does is it allows you to identify the architect and then find the contractor before the design is complete. There's essentially a project manager then assigned or approved by the state that helps you manage both of those entities, so that what the architect puts out as a drawing is agreed to by the general before it ever goes out. Like before we approve it, the general's saying, yes, I can build this and I can build this within budget, as opposed to a drawing and then a contractor saying, yeah, I can do this for this, coming in low bid, but I got to do all these change orders to make this happen. It's been a proven way in the state of Washington to keep costs. They hesitantly use the word down, but that costs are known from the beginning to the end of the project, and those numbers match, as opposed to saying, we're going to build it for $7 million. In the end, it costs you 12 because of the contractor came in after the design. This starts the contractor and the designer working together from the beginning. It also makes sure that it's being done correctly, insofar as all the safety and health things are put in. So when you say it's a firehouse or it's a fire station, the state board mandates basically that, okay, so it needs to have all the things that go into a fire station, not a contractor that's never built a fire station saying, oh yeah, I can do that. This process has been used with great success by school districts, is the big one, and also public utility districts. They're the main users of it. The fire service is starting to crack into it and get into it. So we wouldn't be a guinea pig, but we'd be one of the first dozen to do it. And the more I've researched it, and then Commissioner Ansel was present at a meeting with our attorney. And I truly feel like without institutional knowledge in the command staff of how to build a fire station, this is the safest and most responsible way for us to do this. I recognize that it doesn't delay us anymore. It's just going to slow the process down a little bit and bring hopefully clarity and confidence to all of us that we're getting it done right the first time, and that we're not just shooting from the hip and then end up with either a Taj Mahal or we overpay for something that's not the right thing. So I'm not asking you to take any action today. The biggest thing is I've reached out to Mr. Davis, gave me the name of a consultant that will help usher us through. When he talked about this application to the state board, I kind of melted in my seat. He said, no, there's a consultant that will help you get through this state board application. We're preparing that application for submittal in August to go before the state board in September. The answer from the state board is immediate that day, so there's no waiting for an answer. If the state board says no, they don't just say no and you have an impossible target to find. They say, no, we need these things clarified. You come back to the next meeting and you get clarified. The firm that I discussed it with they won't take us on unless they have a reasonable expectation of success. The guy is very confident that he's like, yeah, he didn't say slam dunk, but that's the word I'll use. So it's a company called Hainline Consulting. They've done numerous huge, large projects. One of their key ones would be the Bellevue City Hall overhaul, the new Bellevue City Hall that was built in 2022, which they did under this model. So they've they've got a record of success.
Did they just do the Gold Bar fire station not too long ago as well?
I think they're helping with that. They're helping salvage that, yes. Because that was a traditional process that went bad.
This is all under the assumption that we're still using the land that the station's on.
And even if we weren't,
Process remains the same.
I feel like the process should remain the same, just based on, like I said, institutional knowledge and what we know about building fire stations. And I think this keeps us more transparent. We're having I realize it's still government, but we're having an external entity audit our process as we go through. It may seem like an abundance of caution, but I think we only get one shot to do this. And I think it's super important that we not slow it down, but that we take the time to make sure we do it right, both for our people internal and for our external customers, the taxpayers, so that we end up with a reasonable building that will serve for another 50 to 70 years.
And it's still planned with a modular mindset for growth and expansion. None of that changes, right?
Right. Oh yeah. And that was one of the things that not modular like buildings, but,
Right.
but that the structure could be added
Yes.
to, or that it could be upgraded.
Mhm.
Yes. That the things, we look at technology that's coming and build those pieces into it, maybe so we don't have it from day one, but that it's upgradable.
So the frame hasn't changed, the frame structure hasn't
Correct. And that it plans for growth. That we're not building it for today. We're building it for 20 years from now.
Back up a little bit.
Yes, sir.
What's the response time from Samiama to Birch Bay? 7-8 minutes?
It adds an additional 8 minutes. So. Sorry, that was it.
So I was at the meeting with the attorney on this, and of course, my biggest concern was initially hearing that the GCCM project there's a queue, so kind of everybody applies and then you get put in the hopper, and we didn't know if it was gonna be months, years, or whatever, and then finding out now that we could get a meeting in September is huge. The next point being, we don't have the staff to manage a project like this. So whatever we do, whether it's hiring a contractor, consultant, whomever, it's not something Jason or our existing staff have the time or ability, or no offense, the knowledge to do. And one of my biggest fears with a project like this is having to do the conventional design build, which the chief talked about, meaning, you have a picture on a napkin of what a fire station looks like, and you send it out for bid, and you get the lowest bidder is what you're stuck with by statute. And it could be someone who's never seen a fire station. And the horror stories of people getting all these change orders or getting a partly built project that ends up not incorporating all of the needs of a fire station as far as the safety and health components. And then, we need another million, and then we need another million. And pretty soon your low bidder is the most unqualified contractor that is cost you more in the long run, because we are not allowed to pick the best contractor under that model. So I think if we can qualify, the GCCM model would allow us to vet contractors and look at their background and their history and their abilities. And as you pointed out once before, Kimberly, we would really like to keep our tax dollars within our tax base. I know there's really good people in Federal Way and Kent and Seattle, but I think there's probably some in Bellingham and Linden and Ferndale. So I would love for us to be able to choose somebody who is willing to use local resources. Plus it cuts down on the cost because we're not paying $300 an hour to drive from Federal Way to Birch Bay. So, thank you, Chief, for researching that. Kimberly has put together a comparison spreadsheet that talks about the three different projects. I'm assuming, Chief, if we were picking either of these, it would either be the design build or the GCC,
Yes.
not the job order.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the job order style.
It's for smaller projects.
Yeah, I think it's like the small works roster.
Oh, okay, okay, yep.
From what I read. So if you're reviewing this, I would say concentrate on the first two, the design build and the GCC, for reference. Okay, moving right along. Anybody, any other questions, comments on that project? So just for a timeline, we're saying, okay, we have an architect that we are looking at a phase one contract, which is kind of now on a back burner.
And that's one of my questions for the gentleman, from Hainline Consulting is what do we need to do? Do we do a full phase one contract with the architect? Do we do a letter of engagement? How do we move forward with them? And I suppose there's always the possibility they'll hear, I doubt it, but that we're going GCCM and they'll punch out and we'll have to do an RFP all over again. So that's always an option, but I don't anticipate that. But
Are you saying that based on cost consideration?
no, just maybe that's not, they prefer to do the design build style as opposed to, so.
They've got a lot of their contractors lined up. When we looked at their proposal, and that's, what Kimberly pointed out was, look, I mean, these people are all from King County or Pierce County or wherever. And maybe they have people up here and we just weren't clear enough to say, pick people from up here. But, so you're going to talk with them. We'll figure out what happens with our current architect.
The current plan, yeah.
But the goal then is to apply for and hopefully get on the September.
Goal is August, is having the package submitted by August 21st or whatever it is, and then to be on the September docket at the state. It's called CPARB I can't remember what it stands for, but that's the board.
And there's no way to move forward with any type of feasibility study or anything right now, I would assume, because it's all on hold. It's all tabled until this.
I would be hesitant to, yeah, I can certainly ask both Mr. Davis and the gentleman from Hainline.
And that to me at least seems like something that could move things. That's something that will have to be done regardless.
Actually, you know what, can I get back to you after the meeting? I think I have an email about that.
Yeah.
I talked with the gentleman who put me in contact with somebody at the county but I can't recall the exact details right now. I think I have some good news on that.
Okay. I like good news.
All right.
All right, Chief, Simeon Station 62 project.
Okay, maybe more good news. So permits are in. We're good to go. We're ready to go with the project at Station 62. I am meeting with Bob Loophole, the contractor, Monday afternoon to discuss the final sub bids that came in, and we're off and running. I know I'm certain that there'll be some concern from maybe members of the board as well as members of the department of why are we moving forward, do anything at 62 if we're not going to move people there. Well, the bottom line is we need to stop the damage that's happening and repair the damage that's happening and make it as this work needs to happen either way. And also I remind people that on the levy, which I'm optimistic is going to pass, that we talk about staffing Station 62. So we need to start to prepare that for responders to be there. So this project needs to move forward. it's with the financial number that the board put on it at $250K. It's certainly a lot of money, but it's not, we're not dumping millions into this. And so we have a limit that we're going to work to, and Bob's aware of that. And we'll meet Monday and go over what his subs gave him as far as bids, and move forward within those parameters. But we've got to stop the damage that's happening to that building, if nothing else. So that's,
And didn't we determine that this can use mitigation funds for its growth?
that I have not done yet, actually. That needs to go on my Jenny list.
I mean, it would seem to me that we are preparing a station for growth by
Yeah,
suggesting we're going to place an additional
Right.
unit there.
and we've certainly,
And to make it habitable, that, I'm no attorney, and I know there's all kinds of weird loopholes that you have to jump through, but my common sense mind, which gets me in trouble a lot, would say that this is for growth and we could use mitigation. Which we have, almost 500,000 in
almost
there?
500,000 in there, yes.
That would be something I would like to tap into if it's possible.
I will check on that and get back to you.
Any other unfinished business? New business, surplus vehicles. Chief, tell us about these vehicles.
For you is resolution 2024-04. We've got 4 vehicles that we would like to get rid of. 3 of them are old Expeditions. They're old staff cars. They're way beyond time to get them out of here. And then an old road rescue ambulance that we'd like to send to auction. What's that?
Probably get those sold.
So they're not, those Expeditions especially are not in use. They have not been in use. They're just drains on maintenance, and
You mentioned a couple phone calls?
we'll send them to auction. Or, well,
See what's the best price we can get?
yeah, what's the best price we can get?
I'm certain I could probably get the best price.
I'll talk to you after the meeting. Okay.
Before us is resolution 2024-04, declaring the following vehicle surplus. A 2006 Ford Expedition, another 2006 Ford Expedition, a third 2006 Ford Expedition, and a 1996 Ford Road Rescue Ambulance. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any questions, comments? We are going to, per resolution, dispose of the vehicles listed in accordance with all applicable statutes. So I will allow the chief, or suggest the chief and Mr. Crawford work together to find out what's the best price, right? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. All right.
I had a question related to the OSHA email that had been sent out to us for volunteer standards changing, or standards in general changing from 1980 to now. I just didn't know if that was going to affect us financially, or if there's anything that we would want to provide input on.
As far as, shoot, I have to go, I recall this.
The emergency response updates to OSHA standards, they
Right.
haven't been updated in some 44 years.
There is some concerns that I've seen on message boards and conversations between chiefs, that there could be some financial impacts to that. I know some districts, especially those with part-time programs, are now having to enroll volunteers or part-time people into the state retirement system, which obviously comes at a cost for both the employee and the employer. So that, yes, there is certainly a risk of that. We also can't do it without the tender group, so I don't
Right.
know how. we-
That's what I was thinking about. I just didn't know if we had any type of position as an organization on getting on board early and voicing concerns.
I haven't seen anything come up. Usually something like that could cause, that would have a massive impact to the district. We'll get an update from Schmeling, Sicken, and Davis. Like you need to pay attention to this. You need to take action. I haven't seen anything come from them yet. It's mostly been chatter on like chief boards, nationwide, and it's where I'm seeing most of the concern come out is out of the Northeast.
Okay.
Where these huge volunteer departments. So I have not seen anything come specifically from legal counsel on that yet.
Thank you.
Any other new business? Correspondence? Proclamation by the county executive for Emergency Medical Services Week for the whole month of May.
It didn't say one thing about fire-based EMS, I'd like to point out.
Piece of paper that was.
All right. Any words of wisdom about the latest train derailment?
It sounds like it was a gap in a switch that caused it to slow roll over. There was no hazardous materials. Nobody was injured. No property was damaged other than railroad property. But my heart skipped a beat. All of ours did. So.
All right. Let's hope we don't have any more. And it looks like Whatcom County has approved Linden's annexation of that chunk
40
that
acre chunk.
basically has no current value that we are receiving tax dollars from.
I believe it was $485 last year.
Okay, so it's not gonna change our bank account in any way, shape, or form. All right, and then we have the announcement for Leslie Smith. And our newsletter. So, board meeting July 18th. Is everyone available for that?
Looks good.
Yep.
Mr. Ansel,
Yes.
could I go back to correspondence just real quick?
Yes.
I just would like to point out that we, from time to time, we get solicitations for patches from patch traders. And this morning, Jenny received a patch request. She applied to her politely and received an absolutely disgusting, abusive email back from the person. And I just wanted to make you aware of that's the kind of stuff that Jenny deals with. If it's once, it's too often. I'll be following up with the gentleman. But
Send me the email. I'll follow up with it.
I just wanted to make you aware that, we really value our employees, but and it's not a local person, it's someone from the East Coast.
No, even better. Let me follow up with it.
So, anyway, I just wanted to make you aware because I apologize to Jenny on behalf of, I won't call him a gentleman, this person, but yeah, and it's not just Jenny, it's sometimes phone calls too, but that kind of stuff happens, and just wanted you to be aware that happens from time to time.
So do we have a policy?
We don't trade patches.
Okay, there you go. Fair enough.
So.
Sorry, Jenny.
Yeah.
It
was a shocker.
Yeah.
And I should say, we don't trade patches with adults. If you can tug on my heartstrings, sometimes the chief will make an exception for a child or a disabled child or something like that, but for the most part, no, we don't. We have a policy that says unless the chief says yes, it's no. And I'm firmly in the no on this one. But yeah, it was
Not too bad.
disappointing.
There are still a lot of disrespectful, angry people. I encounter them daily on my bike rides. Next meeting agenda items. We'll keep station 63 and station 62 on there. Anything else? Let's see, July, I guess we'll have, hopefully, that'll be the 18th. So the ballots will be dropped
Friday.
that day.
Is that day or Friday?
Well, I think they mail them on the 17th, so I'll get mine on the 25th. I do have that phone. All right. Yeah, well, we'll still have commissioner meetings, so we'll have Lis's last one and stuff. Unless you want something specific for the levy. All right, we have a brief executive session. Joel, I'm sorry, is there anything that you want to add in your reports? Nothing, we heard about the parking issues. One sort of last question about building heights. Where are we in that?
There's no code that says they can't build above a certain height pertaining to fire apparatus, aerial apparatus. A good example is Seattle. They got buildings that are 60, 70 stories high. No ladder truck's gonna reach that high. Just, we have to put in other measures in the building, maybe increase the firewalls, add sprinklers, things like that. Extra fire protection.
And will we communicate with the city that 3 people on a 5-story building is probably inadequate for a first alarm response to a structure fire?
Absolutely.
I don't know what the NFPA minimum standard is for somewhere in my mind, I thought the first alarm response was like 18 or something like that.
Yep.
But I know that a recent one, I think I was looking at in Seattle, had 75 firefighters on scene.
Right.
So we'd have to take all of Whatcom County.
It would take all of,
this is something I can lose sleep over with the city wanting to grow and get bigger, and never once in any of these discussions am I hearing, oh yeah, what about the fire department or emergency response? I mean, I was disappointed when you did your presentation on the levee lid lift, and it was like we were talking to the wall. I mean, I don't even think we got eye contact from them, and when it was done, there wasn't a question, a comment, or it was really disheartening for me to have the fire chief standing up saying, we're really grossly understaffed, and they're like, thanks, have a nice night. So I don't know if we're not messaging well enough or what, but I was disappointed. Get off my soapbox. Executive session next. Per RCW 42.30.110 subsection L subsection D is to review negotiations on the performance of publicly bid contracts when public knowledge regarding such consideration would cause a likelihood of increased costs. Jenny, you can stay
I don't know that work that you
We will go till 11:30 at the latest. Shut that off. All right, we are back out of executive session. There is no further business before the board except signing of documents, which will occur after we adjourn the meeting. A motion to adjourn. All in favor?
All right.
Meeting adjourned 11:27.